Welcome back, Colonel. So, this past Saturday, I got to go see Zootopia 2 at an early screening. I'm going to give my full thoughts and reaction on the movie. Now, there will not be any major spoilers about the plot or anything like that in this review, so if you're worried about it, you don't have to be. I will just say before we kind of dive into this review, I'm a massive fan of Zootopia 1. I think it's one of Disney's better animated movies in recent years. I think it came out, 2016? I very much enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. I think Zootopia 2 might have just doubled down on how good the first one was. It might be even better than the first one. Both of them have plots that, I just really think are, maybe a little bit more mature for a child audience, but they do it in a way that is acceptable and not too dark. So, let's talk about the movie. One of the first things you'll notice about this movie, similar to the first movie, is just how many puns, and not just puns, but references they put in this movie. Even very, small references. Just to name one, to give you an idea of the level of depth that we're going for here. There is a reference where, Judy and Nick are they're going through this one area and they see a polar bear, and the polar bear is drinking a bottle of Coke and is kind of tipping off to them, kind of referencing, if you guys have ever drinking a Coke near the holidays, they always have those polar bears on them. I just thought that was a really cool nod to that. That is by far though not the biggest reference in this movie. They have references to old movies, references to other Disney movies. It just is awesome, and it'll kind of make you be like, hey, look at that, you know what I mean? Just a lot of fun to kind of squeeze into different scenes in the movie. The character dynamics of Nick and Judy get even better in this movie, as if they weren't already fantastic by the end of the first movie. In this movie, they kind of struggle with the fact that everyone thinks they shouldn't be partners. Now, keep in mind, this movie only takes place, a week after the first Zootopia? Nick and Judy are on it, man. I mean, they might be the new heroes of the police squad, because they just solved a whole case with predators a week before, and now we got this one with Gary the Snake. So, I don't know, I think that was pretty cool that, there was not much time difference. But basically, everyone is after they kind of mess up this one pursuit, they're I don't think you guys should be partners. And they end up going to partner cop therapy. And it becomes the whole plot line of, even though we did good work together, are we really meant to be partners together? And that kind of becomes a focal point. Are we too different? Do we think about things in too different, despite how we were able to compromise in the first movie, was that a one-time instant? So the mystery of the movie, the big plot, right? I'm not going to reveal anything about it, right? Because I don't want to spoil anything. But similar to the first movie, how it had to do with a big scale thing like predators and, are they a danger to our society? They kind of take that more serious tone again here. This time, just to kind of show you, actually going back to the roots of Zootopia before it was even built. And I really like the way they did it in terms of it didn't start off as this really big thing. It kind of starts as this this little mission. And then it goes into this very wide scale, problem. And I just liked seeing, that problem grow in importance as the movie went on. I cannot talk about this movie without mentioning how beautiful the animation looks. I mean, if you've seen the trailers, the colors are popping. Every place they go just looks I don't want to say, but the animation looks soft. It all looks soft and friendly and comfortable, and the colors are popping off of each other, and the animation looks great. I cannot say enough good things about visually how this movie looks. Not to mention the fact that the soundtrack and score, there's a new song that Shakira made for the song, and I think it's called Zoo. It was stuck in my head for the entire day after I saw this movie. And still kind of comes to mind now that I think about it. With Nick Wilde in this movie, in the first movie, he kind of had this very sarcastic undertone, and he brings that full force back. Now, The really nice thing about this movie, I was talking about character development. You get to see a somewhat sweeter side of Nick. There's a whole moment where him and Judy kind of just like really let out all of their feelings. And you really get to see how he feels and how Judy feels. And it's just a very great character growth moment that just sets the tone for the rest of the movie. The villain of our movie is also very good, and similar to the first movie, you might not see coming. Now, I'm sure there were a lot of people that saw the villain from the first movie coming. I actually think that the villain for this movie, no one will see coming. Just kind of the way they set it up, right? But yeah, I personally really enjoyed the way that they kind of did the reveal and everything. I think you will too. Gary the Snake was an absolute awesome addition to this cast. You know, he's a sweet little snake. He has like a little lisp. He's great. He's just trying to bring his family back to Zootopia after, you know, all snakes are not allowed there or haven't been there. Just a really fun new character that, quite honestly, I would love if they, you know, reference him if they do make a Zootopia 3. Lastly, to end it off, the movie just does everything a sequel should do. It takes the fundamentals of what made the first one great, Nick and Judy having that strong character dynamic in a beautifully animated world about, you know, right and wrong choices and how people should be treated. And it kind of doubles down on that. You know, a great new story about treating people with respect and, you know, people, you know, maybe getting framed by the system or whatever it may be. And it just kind of introduces this whole new story of this other person that's been affected by it. Now, the thing I wanted to say, this is not in any way confirmed, but it's a nice little, you know, fan theory. Being that this movie takes place a week after the events of Nick and Judy, you know, bringing, you know, predators to light and showing that they're not these bad people, you know, they were being shot with this, you know, drug. I would like to consider it, you know, that maybe Gary saw this as the place he used to live in Zootopia, or, you know, maybe always dreamed of being. And when he saw that Nick and Judy were making progress, you know, that, oh, predators are not bad, and was making progress in the city of accepting everyone, he went to Zootopia thinking he could do the same, almost inspired by Judy. And I really would like to think that that is something, you know, that maybe inspired this movie as a whole. But it's just a nice little, you know, fan theory, you know, a what if that doesn't really get too serious, but it's kind of cool to think about. So yeah, guys, that is my review for Zootopia 2. Let me know in the comments if you've planned on seeing this movie, or if you've already seen it, what are your thoughts on the movie? How does it kind of rank in scale against the first movie? Again, I liked it just so ever much slightly than the first movie. You know, it kind of goes more into detail than the first movie. The first movie was very broad and then, you know, about the world and exploring Zootopia for the first time. This kind of takes it a step deeper and, you know, dives into some of those cracks, right? But again, I had a great time, and I would really love to see a Zootopia 3 in the future. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow for Stranger Things 5. Peace, Colonels.